Good evening. My name is Ron Pavlovsik. I live in Aspetuck Village at address 287 Eagles Landing. I love this town. I really made a good decision when I moved here 15 years ago. A lot of great amenities, all kinds of terrain, hills and valleys and woods and lakes and ball fields. Low taxes, by the way, that I mentioned. But we seem to have this big controversy every year. It's another year, another budget, it's the same players. I have a confession to make. Even though I've been a consistent supporter of Mayor Moretti, I'm glad he did not have success in running for governor. Even though our favorable financial situation and low taxes are technically implemented by you folks, the Board of Aldermen, it's his guidance and leadership and vision that have made that possible. And I don't think this city of Shelton is ready to run on autopilot yet, where we can do without him. So I hope he sticks around another 24 years. That should take it through my lifetime, and that should be good enough for me, and then some. On the good news front, there's a lot going on in town. The latest thing is Chipotle, Mexican food, my favorite restaurant. Go over there by Sears and you see the foundation's in already, right? That's the latest of many wonderful little businesses. It's a chain. I know, there's 500 of them. McDonald's actually sold off that chain about 10 years ago. Now they regret it, if you look up the background. 6 hotels in town, bringing in revenue without any expenses to pay for more munchkins in the school system. More and more housing going up, that's for senior citizens and older people, people like me, empty nesters that aren't putting more munchkins in the school system. And the number of munchkins keeps going down. I think it's around 5,000 right now in the school system. So the trends are good as far as that goes. The problem is that we still have a lot of people in town that are unlike these people and unlike these people. They don't have guaranteed jobs. They don't have lifetime guaranteed employment. They don't have automatic raises regardless of their performance. They don't have pensions that they can look forward to. You got the top 1% here, economically speaking, in this room, teachers and administrators. What you don't have here are us poor slobs in the middle, and the people at the bottom, downtown, Howe Avenue, Core Avenue, that are struggling. They live in houses that are worth $150,000. Most of us wouldn't want to live down there. Some of those neighborhoods. There's a high turnover in and out. I wish things could be better for them, but their prospects don't look like they're going to get any better, even with doubling the school budget. We've spent a fortune on the schools, and those people aren't doing any better. The way I like to look at it is we have the top 10% of the students that would succeed any place. And those are the ones that go to Yale and Harvard and the better colleges. And there's some good teachers that motivate them because I talk to them. I have 2 part-time jobs in my retirement. I'm 68 years old. I still have 2 part-time jobs, by the way. Then you have the bottom 10%. The riffraff that are unreachable, the truants. I'm more concerned about the 80% in the middle, because I know a lot of those kids in the middle. I run into them in the jobs that I have. And when I ask them questions, I say, are you getting a good education at the high school? And most of them don't think they are. And I've got a survey here that the Shelton Board of Ed put out, spring 2012, by the people over here to the right behind me. There is still a perception, community perception varies on how well prepared Shelton public school graduates are for college and careers. More than half of the respondents, that means more than half of Shelton residents, so they weren't sure that the kids coming out of the high school are well prepared. Now that's not for the top 10%, and the bottom 10% probably didn't even respond. It's the middle that I have some concern for. Another 15% said they're not well prepared. Our graduation rate is still kind of low in the area. Our test scores are nothing to brag about, unless you compare them to Derby and Ansonia, okay, or Naugatuck. Yeah, we're doing great. But we're competing economically for residents and business and development and investment with Monroe and Trumbull. Okay, we're losing that battle because we still have what's perceived as a mediocre school system. What happens is a lot of those kids in the middle end up going to Housatonic. But when they get there, they have to take remedial courses in English and math because they weren't prepared properly at Shelton High School. This has been going on for years. I don't see any improvement. In fact, Housatonic just was affected by a recent state ruling that they can't offer as many remedial courses to these people anymore because it's futile. They just don't belong in college. And that's where too many of our graduates end up. We're not cranking out too many really smart kids that need that help. Now, is more money the answer? I don't know. We just got through building or remodeling all the schools in the last 10 years. We got electronic boards. We went with a PC for everybody and a laptop for everybody and an iPad. Okay? Has that improved test scores or learning among these kids? Haven't seen it reflected in the test scores. But meanwhile, you've got these people in the middle, the students, and you got the parents that are struggling still with a bad economy. The Obama recession continues. We're in year 7 right now. Unemployment is still high. If you count people that are giving up looking for jobs, the actual unemployment is 10-12%. Are you a senior citizen and you got money in the bank, you're getting 1% on it, on a CD. Terrible. Now, what can we do? I don't know. Is it curriculum? I've lost confidence in this school system over these years, as much as I've enjoyed living here. You know, I've gone through all the different phases. I read about the new math, the old math, the new math, outcome-based education, no child left behind, Common Core. Are we doing Common Core? Did we sue to fight Common Core? I kind of lost track. No teacher left behind, you know, when it comes to some of these contracts. But I'll tell you what bothers me. I go past the high school at 2:05 sometimes. I see kids coming out, nice kids. They're not carrying any books. I stop and ask if you're there, or in a couple of my jobs, I say, where's your books? Well, we did our homework in study hall. How long is study hall? 45 minutes. Well, you think that they marched right into that study hall and sat down, opened up their books and studied for 44.5 minutes? No, you know how it is when we were in school. It takes you 5 minutes just to get them all seated, put away their phones, tell them to be quiet. Then if they're really trying to study, and they're not looking around or fooling around, At the tail end, they're looking at the clock and they're starting to wrap up 5 or 10 minutes, so maybe they get a half an hour at the most of meaningful time to do their schoolwork. I don't think this school system is challenging these kids. All studies have shown that when you challenge the kids in the classroom, when good teachers challenge the kids in the classroom, they perform better. There's too much of this touchy-feely, self-esteem concern, too many of these other courses that I've talked about that are not directly related to the 3 R's. There's no real accountability. Now, what could be done that influences the budget, relates to the budget? Well, there's a movement across the country not to pay any more when a teacher gets a master's degree. There's already about 6 to 7 states that don't pay teachers anymore when they get a master's degree. And about the teaching profession itself, talking about accountability, there is no other profession where workers are insulated from accountability as the teaching profession with their tenure. The government has tried to put through improvements regarding tenure. What's come of it in the last 2 or 3 years? Everything got watered down because of Malloy's allegiances and lobbying on the Democratic side. I remember 5 years ago, I wrote a letter to Mr. Burr and I said, could you please tell me how many sick days teachers are taking in Shelton? He did not respond. I had to file a Freedom of Information complaint, and 6 months later, he responded. And the average was something like 8.8 sick days per teacher in Shelton. That would be around probably 2008, 2009, in that time frame, as I remember. Now that's basically 1 day a month, or 12 days comparable to someone that works in a 50-hour-a-week job, like most of you did or still do. What other company would tolerate an employee taking off 12 sick days a year? You know how much substitute teachers are costing in the current budget? I couldn't find out. I couldn't find the budget online. I just left the Shelton library. I was working with the reference library there. She said, can I quote you? She said, yeah. She could not find online the Board of Education budget. This is a half an hour ago. You can call over there and ask her. They couldn't find the Board of Education budget. But I know that a few years ago, the budget for substitute teachers was $360,000. Because when they take so many sick days, you have to hire a substitute, and not only does learning suffer, but there's a cost to pay for the substitute. Why can't the average number of sick days go from about 9, which it probably still is, to 4 or 5? Shouldn't that be a goal of this school system? You know, instead of some of these other things. I guess time is up, so I'm going to wrap up over here. I'm disappointed that we're cranking out a lot of kids. They're nice kids, but they're not ready for college. I am not paying a heck of a lot in taxes, thank God, but I want to see that money used wisely. And I want to see articles in the newspaper about student achievements, not a brouhaha about prom dresses or prom invitations. Poorly managed, this issue, by this current school administration. Thank you. Somebody have a question? Yeah. I have complete confidence in the mayor's numbers. I have supported 100%. Like Fox News, I'm only up here every year to be fair and balanced because these folks have a slight conflict of interest, okay? So I say keep it exactly like it is. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.